Hi everyone, Lauren here with Sisterhood of the Rose, and I've had some guided messages dropping in about Solstice, and I just wanted to take a moment to share some of what has been coming through from the Marys. And if you are new to my channel, welcome in. I am a channel for the Marys who are a divine, feminine, angelic frequency, really. It's a frequency containing many energies that has taken a while for me to refine, has taken a while for me to have it become clarified in a way where they have asked me to help to convey some of the messages which they have identified are specific to a group of individuals who recognize and feel resonance with the Sisterhood of the Rose. And what they share with me is that we carry the Rose lineage within our DNA energetically. Many of us are healers, many are empaths, many are intuitive guides who have incarnated into this lifetime to bring forward our gifts and to, I believe, assist in the process that's currently really beginning to take some greater form, which is this process of consciousness expansion that's taking place within our collective, within the world around us, and within each of us individually. And so some of us are called in various ways to work with our light in this capacity. However, these messages that come through me are meant for anyone who is naturally drawn into this channel, anyone who identifies with the Sisterhood of the Rose or carrying forward the Rose lineage. And they're really pointing me to a connection that comes from the priestesshood of Isis. It's as far back as I'm able to understand this lineage, but it traces back to ancient Egypt. It traces back to information that is not quite popular around Mary Magdalene and her role, as well as Mother Mary, and how they were both priestesses within this lineage, studying how to work with energy and bringing forward this lineage of the rose. And so there are interesting ties that I've, as you know, my own inquisitive self, I have found myself being drawn into certain subjects, specifically guided by the Marys, and one of those subjects is astrology. And so I wanted to just discuss some of the symbolism of solstice and bring to mind that this energy begins a cycle. So every time we have one of what we would consider our major 4 points of the year, so those are being equinoxes and solstices, and they divide our 12-month year into quadrants that we understand as seasons. And when we are experiencing equinox, what is happening is we are at a complete state of balance at equinox time period. So it's equal light, equal dark. And we're either shifting in one way or another. When we are experiencing solstices, it's the opposite. And we are experiencing either the greatest amount of light, which is true for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. We are currently experiencing that culmination point of light. So we were in the light half of the year, reaching the top point of light for the cycle, and now we are going to begin to descend back into darkness. And when we are conversely experiencing a winter solstice, what has happened is we have reached the darkest point of the year, and we are beginning to shift back into an increasing amount of light. It will slowly grow lighter and lighter from winter solstice onward. And when we are in these praxis places, these kintron points that we might know, they're turning points energetically for the year, and they do mark a shift of a cycle. And it is always a good time to really reflect upon what has occurred in this last cycle. So from spring equinox until now, what has been growing with the light of the light into this culminating point where now the light is streaming down upon it, and it is really beginning to reach a culmination energetically. So it becomes now this process kind of energetically of a shift towards tending energy, a shift towards really beginning to reap and tend to what it is you've been working on and the seeds that you've planted energetically and literally in your life, in your world since springtime. And oftentimes Aries is really thought of as that initiating energy. And so that's what kicks off that spring equinox period, is that shift into Aries season. And so now we are shifting into Cancer season. And Cancer is the sign of, it's the moon's home sign. So the moon only has one home sign. So we've got the moon and the home sign of Cancer. The moon really representational of our environment, of our emotional body within this space of this mothering sphere of emotions, really bringing the sun's light into this space. And so you really want to take a look at the Cancer and Capricorn axis in your chart, because the day after solstice, we had a full moon in Capricorn that marks the very beginning of a cycle, of a process that's underway right now because it's already kicked off. And the energy of solstice is going to be carried into this cycle process that is just opened up. And the reason there's a process underway is we are going to have two full moons in Capricorn, one that just occurred at the first degree of Capricorn and the first degree of Cancer, really initiating energy right there. Both cardinal energies, both the first degree, the first decan, very initiating point of that energy. And then we will receive a new moon that will be a new moon in Cancer, followed by that next full moon, which will be on the 29th degree of Capricorn, the very final degree, and that culminating point that can sometimes feel like that stressful expression. It can be a graduation, but it can also be like the exhaustion of that energy. And that can be, this could be a tough process. You know, this could be this, to me, this really idea, and what's been coming through is there's this alignment taking place, a recalibration between our heart and our mind. And we're coming into greater senses of heart-mind cohesion. And it's bringing us into a greater sense of right relationship within the realm and the scope of like the bigger picture that we have incarnated here to do, the sun being the noetic light in our life that's really shining a light on our soul's trajectory. And, you know, there are aspects being made to the north and south node, to the nodal placements of the moon right now. And it's really implying, and it's been implying, this deep sense of shadow work underway. There's been a lot of light that has been flushing in and through. However, it's been having this effect of clearing and liberating anything that's felt dense, anything that has felt like an energetic restriction, any of that deeper kind of sludgy feeling work that maybe we still have left to do on subjects that we probably have felt like, I've already been through this. Why am I going through this yet again? You know, and it's had this very somber tone to it because Saturn's really been involved here. Saturn has been making aspects in Pisces to a lot of these planets and really bringing in more of like the serious and somber tone, but a tone of energetic legacy and a tone of now it's time to shift. Now it's time to change and really move through certain patterns that might be presenting themselves to you from a soul growth, from a personal growth perspective. So all of this will be very unique to you. I 100% recommend taking a look at your natal chart, really looking at that Cancer-Capricorn axis in your chart, because that's what's going to get really worked over. And it's not only going to be just this month, it's, I believe, going to be carried through the entire season, because it was at that initiation of the season of summer. So I believe this is energy that's opening, and we're in this process now that's very deep, yes, for a month, but there is going to be a tone that's going to be involved throughout this entire season until equinox time, you know. And so the story is unfolding, and I am really feeling called into doing some more readings. I do apologize, I got a little backed up with my own obligations and a lot of things that honestly have been coming up on my end too, you know. And we truly were in this together, and I'm really noticing so much work around personal grief, so much work around anger in relationship to the divine feminine, in relationship to some of these patriarchal patterns that are clearing and liberating. We are needing to process them more deeply and energetically. For me, at least, that has felt like this huge purge. And there have been days that my nervous system has just gotten completely knocked offline, and it's taken everything I can to bring myself back into that balanced and parasympathetic state. And that is coming from a place that is very well versed in working with energy, bringing myself back into balance, and helping to do that for others. So the energies are really, really intense, and I really believe, based on, and this is based on kind of small feedback, so I will be honest with that, but it's based on the subset of people who I know who are also identify with a Sisterhood of the Rose and what they're also going through in comparison to my experience. And it seems that we're all having these giant upheavals within our life. And so the Marys were really speaking quite loud on Solstice about, I kept hearing self-care summer, and as cheesy as that sounds, I kept hearing self-care summer in my head from them. But they were bringing forward the concept and the relationship of energetic self-care, and to really be spending this time working not only to retract your energy inward, to come inward, and to truly focus on your own energetic discernment, your own energetic clarity, your own energetic sovereignty, while maintaining a very grounded state of being, and while creating a practice, a daily practice of clearing your energy, creating that toroidal field within your field, and just allowing your connections to come into a state of communion. And so they were talking very loudly about this idea of, we are not only tending to ourselves, what we're doing as we do that is we're shifting back into right relationship. And the part of that shift is the remembering of how important it is for us to spend time with our connections to the natural world, but also to the cosmos, and to commune in that space, to go into that space with no agenda, nothing to do, nothing to try to accomplish other than to build relationship and spend time communing with yourself energetically in that space, So in your open connections within, the physical world, the natural world, your grounded experience. And there's many ways we can do this. There's no one right way. However, there are very specific ways that the Marys have guided me to work with powerfully when it comes to really wanting to tune into some of the rose light that they discuss that we carry, and that might resonate with you. It might not. And it's not an agenda or anything that I am wanting to say is the only right way. This is simply a very soothing method and a lot of energetic support that they brought to me and asked me to share with others. And so I speak about working with your light and this co-created channeled container program that they wanted me to basically build with them on behalf of anyone who identifies with the Sisterhood of the Rose. But it's not the only way you can do this. And the very, very loud point that the Marys have always, always had with me is that you are the expert. And this has always been a process of you remembering back into self, you remembering back into your own truth. And sometimes we need that helping hand to go into a space that helps us recognize what that is, for ourselves. And this is a process, a gentle process of sort of reconnecting with these aspects of self that we might not have seen or felt or spent a lot of time just being with very much in our life. And I know that was true for me too. When I really started receiving these active channels, I was in a very active state of wanting to do or thinking I needed to do in order to achieve this like self-care, in order to achieve some kind of mindful inner peace. I was still initially in this like activity state of needing to do or learn or accomplish something. But it's actually so much more simple and beautiful and easier than, of course, we all make it out to be, much more complicated than it really, really is. There is a little bit of a mental component in understanding some of the processes that they recommend and kind of what we're doing, what we're working with, because we work with frequency, we work with rays of light, we work with our breath, we work with our imagination and that gateway from our imagination that leads us straight into our third eye. And we really focus on compassion and focus on feeling the experience of feeling what your energy feels like as you tune into various centers within your space, within your field. And that is both within your body, but it's also exterior to you, surrounding you within your auric field. And there is so much potential within this space that the Marys have really shown me. And one of the biggest reasons why they want me to speak of this so much is they are showing me this is a time now. An energetic space has opened up and is available to us now, that those of us who carry this light, this rose lineage, are meant to be working with. Really tangibly, we're meant to be sculpting with this energy and working in this process of co-creation. So the Marys have talked a lot about this shift in mindset from an idea of manifestation needing to be done as something that's on your own, that you have like a mastery that you can study, and then suddenly you can become this like master manifester. And what they have really shown me is that it is a process of working with your energy, yes. It is a process of working with your belief system and continuing to do your own personal work, your own shadow work, because what we're doing is clearing limiting beliefs sometimes that is limiting some of those manifestations from coming to us as well. But we're also practicing some other things energetically. We're learning how to open more to receive. So tuning into a state of receptivity. which can be a learning process for anyone who has been maybe in a state of people pleasing, such as myself, as a trauma response. It can be really hard to shift into a state of reception when you're used to being the giver. Number one. Number two is we're learning to surrender. Surrender in so many different ways. We're surrendering our attachment to the outcome. We are surrendering into faith that we are being carried and that our heart's intention will be coming forward for our highest good and the highest good for everyone involved in the situation. And we are surrendering also, and this is really big, into opening that relationship up further, not only with your connection to the natural world and to the cosmos, but very potently to your connections within all of, to your guides, to your angels, to the ancestors that are supporting you here in your lifetime right now, during this incarnation. You are calling in all of your energetic access across time, space, lifetimes, dimensions, to access anything that you might need energetically for your gifts to become beautifully manifest in this life, for you to fulfill your purpose in its highest accord. And when you invite in that assistance, and begin to start to massage, I'll call it, and really work with this to and fro, this relationship of giving and receiving and working in harmony with your spirit guides, your angels and your ancestors, whatever is of resonance the most to you. And we have all, and it's really up to free will and up to what is really kind of speaking to us as to, where we are drawn individually. But that has the potential to truly create heaven on earth and open up miracles in your life. And I have witnessed this actually happening. I've experienced it happen to myself. One day I'm going to make a video and I'll share with you this process that I was led on, and I knew the entire time they were telling me this is an experiment and we're going to show you how this works. And it was the most magical experience I have ever been a part of. And there's a lot of potential, but we have to surrender into knowing and surrender in our faith of allowing that potential to actually manifest. And that's harder than it sounds, because it means that we are truly surrendering in a deep sense of trust into relationships that we cannot see, that are not tangible to us, that we can talk ourselves out of with our mind and say, this is just mental, this isn't real, right? But then we have all this confirmation around us that it is indeed real, that we are being communicated to, and we'll receive messages on a regular basis or guidance from various places on a regular basis that will confirm to us that we know we have our guides with us, walking with us, right next to us. And what the Marys have really been saying is that many who do identify with the Sisterhood of the Rose are going through incredibly dark periods right now. And so if this is you, I just want to invite you into the remembrance of turning back within, pulling that energy back into that state where you can focus on self, where you can tend to your own personal energy and what it is you need right now, and create boundaries where boundaries might be needed to help support you more energetically. And if you would like some additional support and assistance, working with your light is available to you to help give you some doorways inside, to help bring you back into a state of connection that maybe you haven't felt for a while, or Maybe you've never felt it that deep yet, but will help you to really begin this cultivation process. And what the Marys have shared is that these are the foundational practices they want us to take with us into this next space that they say we're ready for, which is an entirely new module, co-creating with spirit, that I'm getting ready to launch very soon. And I want to make this donation based with a request for a minimum donation, because I do have costs that I need to worry about, but I don't want to prevent any access. And this is meant to be a container space for us to work together in this co-creation process of inviting in spirit. And there's going to be a lot of channeled meditations to help us to do that. So I love all of you guys and gals, all of my people. I thank you so much for showing up, and I would really love, I know it's hard to share, but I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know if there's anything I can talk about, or any subjects that it might help for us to just kind of work through together. We're in this together. I'm here for you. Please, consider subscribing to my channel. If this content resonates, consider giving me a like or sharing it with someone that you think this might really resonate with. And I'm excited to see what unfolds, but I do know we're doing some very deep work right now. We're doing very deep work, and this truly is about going into the depths of our own light and allowing ourselves to shift into a state of receiving, a state of tending, really working on our energy, remaining grounded, remaining connected in our own personal connections, whatever that means for you, and not allowing the distractions to take you off your path right now. So I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me.